So this week there's been a massive anti-Semitism row again, an anti-Semitism smear against Jeremy Corbyn, and in one of the media reports that they did on it was on the BBC's Victoria Derbyshire show, and they talked to two people who have said that anti-Semitism is just so bad in the UK. They're leaving it now. They're leaving the UK because of the anti-Semitism. They're leaving because the anti-Semitism is rife, and they're leaving because Jeremy Corbyn is the king of the anti-Semites, basically. Now, what I want to do is I just want to show you a little bit of this video just to give you the context of what was said in it. The two people are called Mark Lewis, who they introduce as a leading lawyer, and Mandy Blumenthal, who they introduce as a property company director. So let's just see what they have got to say. I'm going to start this at about 45 seconds after the introductions.
Thank you very much for talking to us. Explain to our audience why you say you don't feel safe in Britain anymore.
What's happened?
So she said they don't feel safe in Britain anymore.
Here in Britain to make us not feel safe is there's been a total climate change. It's become acceptable to be anti-Semitic.
Has it?
It's brought out people's feelings to the surface. It's almost like in that in your school. If there was a child that in your class that you didn't really know, they didn't affect you one way or another. But if the conceived cool kids in the class said, don't like that child, don't be friendly with them, they're actually bad, a lot of people start to think, I don't like that child, they must be bad. I'm not going to play with them. And in fact, I'm going to be nasty to them.
What is your evidence?
So she said there basically that anti-Semitism is coming to the surface, and it's all because, you know, as they go on to explain later in the video that I think they said that Jeremy Corbyn, it's all because Jeremy Corbyn is the cool kid now.
Evidence that it is acceptable, and who is the equivalent of the so-called cool kids in your school example?
The cool kids have become the Labour Party.
There you go.
It's not just Jeremy Corbyn, and it's not all of the Labour Party. But it's a very, very loud part of it that's actually enabled this anti-Semitism to foster here in the UK and go throughout society. He's become so cool. Let's face it, at Glastonbury, everybody was chanting his name. He's some kind of pop idol, some kind of hero, become without people actually looking at the depth of what he's said.
So that's what she's saying there. She's saying it's Jeremy Corbyn's fault that anti-Semitism is coming to the surface in Britain. Now, to be fair to Victoria Derbyshire, she does push back.
I have looked at the depth of what he said, and I can give you countless examples of when he has said anti-Semitism is absolutely unacceptable and has no place in the Labour Party. He wrote that in The Guardian in August. He also acknowledged there was a real problem that Labour's working to overcome, and he said that Labour had been too slow in processing disciplinary cases of anti-Semitic abuse, but he said that was changing. In March, he said he was sincerely sorry for the pain caused by pockets of anti-Semitism within Labour. In a tweet in March, he said, I will never be anything but a militant opponent of anti-Semitism. December last year, Mr Corbyn said anti-Semitism was repugnant. I can go back another couple of years. He told the Home Affairs Select Committee, anti-Semitism is where you use epithets to criticise people for being Jewish, where you attack Jewish people for what they are. It is completely unacceptable.
So you can see there she pushes back. You know, that's great. Anybody watching this would think, okay, that's two people who are making assumptions, and she's defending them and actually giving facts. And then
and yet you answer your own question by what you just read out. 2 years ago, it was a problem. 1 year ago, it was a problem. March, it was a problem. August, it's still a problem.
But do you accept?
So you can see there, Mark Lewis, lawyer. They've introduced him, and they gave a caption earlier saying that Mandy Blumenthal was a property company director.
That he's making progress, and that regular public assertions that it's unacceptable within Labour, within society, within Britain, are out there.
I don't think he's making any progress at all. In fact, I think it's...
But you acknowledge he's trying to?
I'm not sure that he's even trying to. I think,
so what do you think those statements are about?
I think Jeremy Corbyn is a distraction to the position. Jeremy Corbyn moved the rock, and the anti-Semites crawled out from underneath the rock. They're not going back. I mean, somebody was saying about terrorism when they were talking about the effect of social media. Social media has caused so much harm. What used to be an acceptable position that you could control a bunch of far-right nutcases, they might join the National Front or the British National Party, it's now an acceptable conversation.
I think...
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. The whole video it's on YouTube. When I actually cut this and put it into a video, I'll put the link below. It's about 8 minutes and 50 seconds or something like that. So it looks there like the BBC have been fair. It looks like, you know, these two people are leaving the country because of anti-Semitism. They're leaving the country because Jeremy Corbyn is the cool kid and he's the top anti-Semite and it's all his fault. And it looks like the BBC have done a good job and actually pushed back. Just one problem though. There's something that the BBC haven't told you in that entire segment. And this is from the Devon Eye, I think it is. Hold on, BBC, they say, something you aren't telling us. The BBC's Victoria Derbyshire programme recently hosted a 15-minute slot in which a couple called Mark Lewis and Mandy Blumenthal were brought on to claim that Labour has produced such an atmosphere of threatening anti-Semitism in Britain that they are forced to leave for Israel. And you can see a picture of them at the top. There's Mandy Blumenthal with the microphone and her partner sitting down next to her. What the BBC forgot to mention is that they are leading members of Likud Herut UK, a far-right Zionist organisation that idolises the murderous leader of the Zionist Irgun terror gang, Menachem Begin. Indeed, Mandy Blumenthal is the national director of Likud Herut UK, but was instead introduced as a property company director, while her partner was described merely as a lawyer. Still think the BBC are giving you the full facts, everyone? While Corbyn was lambasted for possibly having stood near a grave to someone who knew someone who was involved in the Munich attacks, these people were given a free pass over their adulation of the man who oversaw the 1948 Deir Yassin massacre. Over 100 Palestinian villagers in Deir Yassin were brutally massacred by Begin's Irgun during the ethnic cleansing of Palestine following the foundation of the State of Israel, during which 700,000 Arabs were driven out of their homeland. Moreover, Derbyshire never asked her guests if they made these bizarre claims of open anti-Semitism against Britain's most well-known anti-racist, because they are, in fact, devoted supporters of the State of Israel and the racist Likud party that currently runs it. Of course, that would be anti-Semitic. How could you possibly claim that people who describe themselves as proud Zionists could have an ulterior motive for attacking Britain's most prominent pro-Palestinian figure? That is the BBC in a nutshell. That is exactly what they do. They pretend they're being fair and balanced, but they will miss out large chunks of the story that the audience really should know, or in other cases, they'll blatantly lie. This is another case of BBC propaganda, and I, for one, am sick of it. And here's the thing that really, really annoys me the most. Anti-Semitism in this country is a problem. Anti-Semitism is rife in pockets of the Labour Party, and it should be condemned and it should be ousted. Same as racism is a problem in pockets of the Conservative Party. It should be ousted. But making a big deal about Jeremy Corbyn being an anti-Semite when he's got 30 or 40 years of being the least racist and the least anti-Semitic person in the government is doing their cause no harm, no good whatsoever. In fact, it's doing them harm. And the BBC not actually giving people the full information on this couple, who they just say is a leading lawyer. One's a leading lawyer and the other one's a property company director. They're missing out a huge chunk of the story there, and they should be bloody ashamed of themselves. If you enjoyed this video, please click the bell down there and subscribe so you get a notification of next time I drop a video. Also, I can't do this without your help, so if you can afford it and you enjoy my videos, please support the channel by subscribing to my Patreon. Link is down there. You can do it for as little as $1 a month, and it really does help. If you can't afford it, that's fine. Please share my work and talk to other people about the issues that I bring up. Thanks very much for your support. Until next time, peace and take care.